Hello and welcome to day 4 of my stroke recovery video log. Um, so it's been another absolutely glorious day as far as the weather is concerned, and got far too hot in the middle of the day to do anything, whether I was recovering from a stroke or not. I probably spent the middle few hours of the day just lazing around and doing as little as possible. But what have I done today? Well, earlier this morning I did a bit more weeding in the vegetable plots and then planted some celeriac seedlings that I'd grown from seed in the little patch that I'd managed to weed. I'm pulling up the little tiny weeds, having to grip my fingers together and coordinate where I'm putting them, where I'm putting my hand to pull them up. It's quite good. I managed to inadvertently pull out one carrot, but the carrots need thinned out anyway, so it wasn't too much of a problem. Yeah, so I got those planted, and then I trimmed the hedge that we have in the back garden. Separates us from next door, so it's about a 15, maybe 20-meter long hedge, and it got away from us a few years ago when I was doing lots of work up at the fencing club and didn't have time to do anything at home in the garden. And the last couple of years I've cut it back and sort of regenerated it. It's just a privet hedge, it's nothing fancy. It's got a few other bits and pieces in it, but basically just a privet hedge. They regenerate quite well, but it was starting to grow quite long, and it got away from me in the past, and I didn't want it to get away from me again, even though I've had this stroke. So I thought, well, I'll should be able to handle the hedge trimmers, and do it a little bit at a time and get through it. And I thought, I'd be doing it today and tomorrow and maybe the next day. But actually, I managed to, over the course of the day, doing it in little sections. I managed to get the whole thing done. I've borrowed some long hedge trimmers. The top part, the blade part, hinges over like that. So there's an arm that you control it with, and you can move it like this for cutting the top of the hedge or going around corners. I should have done that with my right hand, but my right hand doing that is much more difficult. And it has a mechanism where, so you pull a button back with your thumb and then squeeze with your fingers. So you pull it back and squeeze. As a sort of safety mechanism, and I couldn't make that work at all using my right hand, which is the way I'd normally do it. So I'd hold it there with the right hand and use the left hand to swing the hedge trimmers around. So I had to do it the other way around with my left hand, controlling the trigger mechanism, and my right hand pointing the blade in the right way, right direction. I've got smaller hedge trimmers as well, which I use up the side of the hedge, and that's quite easy because you just have a trigger with the right hand and a little thing you grip with the left hand that makes them operate. So I managed to cope and got it all done. It doesn't look too bad. And the rest of the day I pretty much lazed around. I've done fair few of the exercises from the GRASP program, and not perhaps all of them, but most of them. And I've just filmed myself starting to put together that little Lego set that I got. So I didn't spend too long doing it, partly because my fingers were getting a bit tired. But I want to sort of do a bit more of it kind of each day and make it last for hopefully a couple of weeks, doing all three kind of elements of it. We'll see how that works out. I think I've actually started with the part that has the smallest pieces, which might be a mistake, but I'm managing to do it, so I'm not too bothered about that. We'll see how it goes. So that's it. That's been kind of day 4. I didn't see the hedgehog last night. I did take some video of the moon, and I might possibly post little bits of that. So I've got this camera here, which has a very powerful zoom, and I've also got telescope, which you might have seen in some of the video clips because it's next to the table. Is it there now? You can just see it poking up above the chair. I want to get a better camera to put on the telescope. The telescope is a bit more powerful, but this camera actually does a pretty good job of zooming in. So I might post a little video with a little bit of that on it. This is just about exactly half moon last night. But that's it. That's been day 4. It's been quite a good day. Any real improvements since yesterday? Probably not. Very hard to tell. If there is improvement, it's incremental and will be. And that's the purpose of doing these little video logs, is just to be able to look back and say, oh yeah, there's a definite improvement from 2 weeks ago. Because you don't notice the small improvements. The same sort of thing happens with dieting, and that's the last thing I'll talk about today, I think. I did a bathroom a few years ago now, probably about 6 years ago, and ripped out a horrible old bathroom suite, and I ripped the whole thing out and put in quite a fancy shower. I mean, it's a tiny pokey little bathroom, but we now got a 4-star bathroom in a 1-star house, if you like. But at the time, our old bathroom scales were all sort of rusty and messy and horrible, and we threw them away, and we never bought new ones. And when I was in hospital, they weighed me because I didn't know what my weight was, and they probably wouldn't believe me anyway. And well, I was horrified. I have ballooned up to 90 kilos, which is about 14 stone in in old money. And that's far too much for somebody my height. So Lorraine is also keen to lose some weight, and so we've started diet. We bought some new scales. They arrived yesterday. I just weighed myself, so I was 90.25 kilos today, and I will be trying to lose some of that weight because more weight is a bit of a risk for stroke as well. And improving my dietary habits, my eating habits, wouldn't do me any harm either. So more fruit and vegetables, fresh stuff, and yeah, less takeaway food and less chocolate, less sugar, things of that sort. So I'll post an update on how my weight's going sort of on a weekly basis as well, but nobody's really too interested in that except me. So I've wittered for 9 minutes already. I've got this little clip, it's actually about 3 clips because I kept switching the camera off and then switching it back on when I thought of something else to say. So I'll tag those onto the end, and then I think each day I do a little bit more in the Lego build thing. I'll probably post a little clip of that so you can see my fingers at work or not at work, as the case may be. And if I do manage to catch some video or some pictures of the hedgehogs, I'm going to post them. But so far, nothing. So thanks for watching, and take care. See you tomorrow. So I thought I'd start the Lego set today. It comes in three separate packs inside and 3 sets of instructions. So I'm going to do this little one, number 1, which hopefully will be easier, or at least make a start on it. Not too many pieces, but a lot of them are quite small and likely to be quite fiddly, so we'll see how we get on. That down there. Bags are going to be terribly useful, and these bits are pretty tiny. So I'm just going to tip it all out. This will be a boring little video, but it'll be quite useful for me to actually see how my hands are working. I'm quite sure what the little box is for, or maybe find out later. So we've got some bits to sort out. Looks like his feet. And the first thing is to assemble a little person. So that was simple enough. And it's got a 2 and a 3. I guess he's got different helmet bits it can wear. I don't know. Perhaps that's supposed to go on there. Yeah. So if I get its face pointing the right way. You can make it into a... And it doesn't have any balance. That's not me. Doesn't stand up when it's got the backpack bit on. And there's supposed to be another bit as well, but I can't see. The other part. So I think we'll leave that to one side and we'll get on with the next bits. So we want one of them, and so difficult. It's quite good. I've got to try and use my right hand as much as possible, and there should be a flat brown piece which I don't see that goes on top of there. Am I missing a bit? Well, we'll put that to one side and come back to that later. Yeah, okay. A sticker's supposed to go onto that piece, but we don't seem to have that piece, although there are some other pieces in here that maybe go along with it. So perhaps if I open that up. These are really little bits. So that's the part goes on there. And it's supposed to get a sticker on it. These little bits go on back to back. Really quite fiddly to pick up. That's a good thing. Right hand gripping fingers and stuff, just quite at work. Okay, we're looking for something like that, I guess. So I'm thinking you kind of get the idea. What doesn't go on there? So perhaps I'll just carry on building this myself, and but I think this will be much better in a way for me and much more fun than just getting half a dozen Lego blocks, stacking them up and unstacking them, stacking them up and unstacking them. So a way of exercising the fingers and the grip and so on, as long as I don't use my left hand too much. So I'll switch the camera off and I'm going to spend a little bit of time playing with this, and we'll see how much of it I get done. I'll try not to do too much at once because I want to be able to come back to it. That's the extra part for his head. Okay, so thanks for having a look in again today, and I'll see you again tomorrow. So I'm managing to handle even some quite small fiddly bits, which is seems pretty pleasing. So I thought I'd switch the camera back on and carry on. I don't want to build the whole of this today, but you know, for you and for me, just to see myself at work. This I can manage to put things, even little bits like these little black bits. They're difficult to pick up. I can pick them up with my right hand and fit them on with a little bit of effort. And if you remember the video from the other day, and I had to pick up a coin and flip it over, which I could do quite easily with a 2p piece, and much harder to do with a 1p, although I can do, and even with a 5p. So I can now do. So I think things are actually getting better really quickly. So this is pretty good news for me. So I'm going to make a couple more bits, and then I'm going to put this into a little plastic tub and come back to it tomorrow. And when I lose little bits like that, I'm going to be swearing quite a bit, I can imagine. Certainly using two hands, I can cope pretty well. So I've decided to switch the camera back on again. So I've managed to assemble these pieces. I've got up to page 30 in the book. So I'm going to start at page 30 again next time. But certainly assembling these little bits has been perfectly okay. I've managed using my right hand a lot, and I think that this will be a good way of exercising my hand without without doing things that are too boring. I spent quite a bit of time today using these kind of things. Quite difficult. I get these things to work, fingers to work independently on here. Really quite tricky. Still trying to do a grip on that. I'm just getting those to touch, although with the left hand there you can hear them tapping there quite quickly, and that's a lot slower. So not expecting that to improve at phenomenally quick rate. It might take several weeks, by which time you'll all be bored listening to me, but there you go. Right, so I'm going to end this video now. I'm going to come back and do some more. I think I'll have a little bit of Lego build, maybe in every little video, and we'll see how I'm managing, how I'm coping.